Welcome everyone. Welcome. Today is a new day and we're back. All right, we're switching it up a little bit, but yes, let's get this party started. Welcome everybody. How's everyone doing? Welcome. Let me get everything situated real quick. All right, share that out. What's up everybody? Welcome. Just finalizing this real quick. Welcome. Alrighty, cool. So today we are talking about menus, right? In specific, we're talking to restaurant owners, bar owners, right? A little bit about me before we get started. I am a plant-based chef. I've been cooking professionally for almost 30 years, and at the moment I consult and I help restaurant owners and entrepreneurs basically create systems for their business to increase profit, right? So I help with menu design, menu development, recipe development, product development, right? I also help creating systems that allow you to make money while your restaurant is closed, right? So what I want to touch on today, let me check what's in the oven. All right, turn that off. Okay. So what I want to touch on today is, by the way, I'm making dinner, so don't mind me. What I want to touch on today is menu check. I wrote down a little bit of notes just so I can streamline everything, but super important as a restaurant owner, right? As a bar owner, you want to make sure that you're checking to see what those problems are for your menus, right? And a lot of owners might not even realize that there are problems within their menus, right? And that could be a few things. The first one is mistakes. You want to make sure that you're proofreading your menu. You want to make sure that you're updating your menus as the season changes, as you change recipes, as you change menu descriptions. These are things that are really important because, you know, if front of the house is not communicating with back of the house and you do a menu change and everyone is not made aware of it, and your customers come in, your regulars, and they're like, oh, I would like to have, you know, this delicious kale salad that I normally get, and you put in that order and you don't actually have it, then that becomes a problem. It becomes, you know, this jam, and now you have to figure out what you're gonna do. Are you able to facilitate this regular customer? Are you able to what do you now do? Do you have to do a refund? Do you have to run to the store, send someone out really quick, get the ingredients? Depending on how big this customer is, you might have to literally run to the supermarket and get those ingredients to make sure that you can fulfill that order, right? So it's really important to make sure that you double check your menus. It's really important to make sure that you are paying attention to all the errors, proofreading, making at least 4 different eyes look at the menu so you can make sure that everything is where it needs to be. The drinks are in the right place, the food is in the right place, all the apps are reading properly, and then there's a progression that you want to pay attention to when you are listing ingredients and listing your menu items, right? Like you want to start from light to heavy, right? Super important. So all of those things help you to showcase a menu that is very easy and very foolproof in terms of user experience, right? The next thing I want to touch on is food costs, which is super important because with today's prices, the last thing we want to do is to be throwing money away, right? So when you create menus, you want to create dishes that you can use multiple ingredients over and over, right? But in different ways, of course, right? That's the smart way to use your menu. So this way you're not buying 50 random things just for one dish, right? Imagine if you have a menu that's so eclectic that you need 6 ingredients for this one menu item, you need 10 for this ingredient item, you need another 15 for this particular dish. That's way too many things you're buying just to facilitate that one menu, right? So it's really important to be able to use multiple ingredients over and over, but the key is to use it differently so it doesn't seem like you're repeating the same items in each dish, right? So for instance, if you're doing a carrot, you're using carrots. Like you can do carrot chips, you can do carrot puree, you can do a carrot slaw. Like there's so many different things you can do. So that's just an example of reusing one ingredient but using it many different ways, right? The next thing I want to touch on is overcomplication, right? Super, super important. You don't want to offer people too many options. It's really hard, and I see this with a lot of restaurant owners. They are not necessarily chefs, but they love food and they want to please a lot of people. So they offer things that everybody will come and enjoy, and that's like one of the biggest mistakes you can do. Like, streamline your menu, make it small, make it tight. You're able to offer to a select amount of people, right? Niche your menu down. Like, don't have food from China, Japan, Africa, the Caribbean, Europe. Like, it's way too much, right? So you want to make sure that you are streamlining your menu. If you're gonna do Asian food, then do Asian food. If you're gonna do Italian food, right? Now, don't get me wrong. If your menu is, let's say, a fusion, right, and it's like Caribbean Asian, that's cool, right? It's still within that parameter, but don't have multiple cultures showcased in your menu, right? Like, it's menu confusion, and that's where you're gonna get people like, I'm not sure, because there's no flow to the menu, right? It's like all over the place, and that's really, really dangerous for people. A code? Yeah. Sorry guys, 1 second. Really, really dangerous for people. A code? Yeah. Sorry guys, 1 second. Sorry about that, people. So, but you can try the iPad, okay, right? No? Okay, guys, I am so sorry. Try the iPad, okay, right? No? Okay, guys, I am so sorry. Hold on. To where we were, right? Let me get this sweet potato. So I'm doing a sweet potato puree, right? So really important. You don't want to have overcomplication. You don't want to offer too many things on your menu, right? This is where you're gonna end up doing a lot of damage to your business, right? Super, super important. So smaller menu, tighter menu, and then this way you can really focus on those ingredients. You can focus on that menu, and then you're able to allow that menu to really sing, and then offer people really amazing dishes, because now you're able to work on these dishes a lot more because you don't have this expansive, massive menu that you're working on, right? And last but not least, mispriced items. You want to really pay attention to how you're pricing your items, because food cost is a big deal for my restaurant owners, right? My bar owners. Like, you want to make sure that if you do the food cost and your drink, first of all, a lot of people don't even know what it costs them to make a drink. They don't know what it costs them to make a dish. And this is where you're literally throwing money out on the garbage 24/7. Like, you need to know every single cost to you, the operator, to the owner, right? It is super important. If you're operating an establishment and you don't have the numbers at the end of the day in terms of what it's costing you to run your business, in terms of the food you're bringing in and what you're selling it for, then you're leaving money on the table. So figure out how to do pricing, figure out how to figure out food costing. These are things I help restaurant owners with and bar owners with, but there are multiple ways that you can go about figuring out the cost of what you're selling, right? Once you know that cost, then you need to price accordingly. For me, I have different businesses that I run, right? And my cost is always times, let's say it costs me $3.99 for the spices that I sell, right? I am making sure that I'm pricing to at least 3 times that amount. So if I have to replace anything that I'm selling, I'm not eating the cost, right? So when it comes to being in a restaurant, if your food cost is $3, $4, $5 even, because 20%, 30% food cost, you want to make sure that you are not breaking even at the end of the day. And this is where a lot of owners come into a jam, right? If you don't know what that cost is to you, then you're just kind of pricing as the wind takes you. You're pricing how you feel, and then ultimately you're not making any money. So be very, very careful with the prices that you set, and you want to also make sure that within doing those prices, you're constantly checking. Like, you need to make sure that your vendors and your purveyors are giving you pricing, and you're comparing those prices to other vendors. Because if you're just buying from this guy because you know you're cool and he hooks you up once and you're not checking prices again, then you ultimately could be paying way more than you need to for your cabbage, your greens, you know, whatever it is that you're buying, your extra virgin olive oil, the peanuts, you know, walnuts, whatever it is that you're getting for your produce and for your pantry items. So always price checking, always making sure that someone is going over the list of things that you need to check in for your inventory, so this way you know exactly how to price accordingly. All right, people, that's it. I just want to make sure that you're aware of these things, and this is just a way for you to make sure that your menu is doing what it's supposed to do, right? Like, you always have to verify, you always have to double check. And just to recap, we want to make sure that you check your menu for mistakes. You want to make sure that you check food costs, right? You don't want to be leaking money out, right? You want to make sure that that is 100%. Like, you want to make sure that your food cost is good, right? You want to make sure that your menu is not all over the place. You want to make sure that you've simplified your menu, you've niched it down to a specific genre, a specific culture. You know, just make sure that you can describe to a 5-year-old what your menu is. If a 5-year-old can understand your menu, if a 10-year-old can understand your menu, then I think you need to work on it, right? And then last but not least, you want to make sure that you're not mispricing your items, right? You want to make sure that everything that you're doing based on what your food cost is, you're able to make a profit, right? Because at the end of the day, you're in this to make a profit. You're also in this to create an experience for people, but if you're not making money, you don't have a business, all right? So join me tomorrow. We're gonna touch on another topic about being in the restaurant business and just how do we make more money. I think maybe tomorrow we're gonna talk about ways to make money while you're sleeping, right? Like, super important, because who wants to only make money while the restaurant's open? What happens when the restaurant is closed, right? You want to be able to make money in multiple ways, and this is something that I teach to a lot of people. I'm actually going to be in Vegas next month at the Bar and Restaurant Expo, and I'm going to be showing people, restaurant owners in particular and bar owners, how to make money digitally. Like, as a restaurant owner and operator, it's really hard to just think about, if I'm not open, I'm not making money. Like, COVID taught us that you can't just rely on your restaurant being open for you to make money. Like, even when you're closed, you should be making money. So touching on digital products, having physical products as well, having a website that people can shop and get products, is how you make money online, how you make money while you're sleeping, how you make money when that last table comes in, that last reservation, right? You're still making money. Like, think about it. If you have a restaurant or you have a bar and you have money set up to come in digitally, before you get to work to open up your spot, imagine if you already have $10,000 in the register. Imagine if you have $20,000 in the register, right? These are the things that are possible. So these are the things that I teach, and it's really, really important to be able to make money while you're live, and make money while you're sleeping, make money while you're open, while you're closed.
Are there any restaurant owners in the group?
So let me pause on that for a second, but I will come back later on. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I have to run because I have to take care of this packages. But if there are anyone in the live right now that are restaurant owners or bar owners and you need help going digital, send me a message and we can have some fun. All right, I will help and guide you in the best way possible.